Hi, welcome to Dragon Shenanigans, where I'll tell you wacky stories from my own personal experiences with Dungeons & Dragons. Let's start with a time when I almost killed all of my friends. Characters. I almost killed all of my friends' characters. In Dungeons & Dragons, this is called a TPK, a total party kill. And if everyone is competent, this should never really happen. If everyone is competent. This group had already been through one harrowing adventure, but the trouble started when these characters, who were all suffering from amnesia, had to investigate a creepy abandoned fortress on the outskirts of town, which had been overrun by monsters and angry fish people. Everything was going fine until the party had to decide on whether to go on through the central courtyard or climb down the well and investigate below ground. At this point, 2 out of the 5 players decided that it would be a great idea to split the party. Like nothing could possibly go wrong with ditching the rest of the group and plunging deep underground all by themselves. Like there would just be nothing but candy and rainbows and unicorns down there. Long story short, the 2 of them got ambushed by acidic slime monsters, and the catfolk druid was completely engulfed. The warlock actually made a really awesome attack to try and save him. Ha! 60 damage! Is the monster dead? Watch, it probably has 61 hit points. 62 actually. That's not good. So the druid dissolved. Now, at this point, I feel like I should tell you that this group of players had been together for 2 years. So it's not like they were totally inexperienced noobs or anything. Which makes what happened next so aggravating. In the next session, the group had to investigate the governor's mysterious manor, which was surrounded by impenetrable magic hedges. Now, they knew that this would be a challenge, but that's okay, because their brilliant plan was that they had no plan. They burst in through the guardhouse and found that there were 5 buildings in the compound. I, like a rational person, assumed that they would go to the nearest building first since it was the closest one and the only one that had lights on. But nope! For absolutely no reason whatsoever, they started with the second building, a building which had a small stable attached to it. As it turned out, the stable was haunted by a ghost horse. Luckily, the nearest player was the group's monster hunter. This tough, grizzled mountain of a man, this deadly, experienced slayer of fiends, warned the group by shouting out, "Ooh, a pony!" and just dashed right into the stable. Once they were inside the building, they didn't find anything on the ground floor, but there were stairs leading up and a trapdoor leading down. And if a trapdoor is good for anything, it's for enticing the rogue. So, what do you guys do? I go down the trapdoor. Just like that. Yep. All by yourself. Yep. With no one else. Yep. Okay. That's cool. That's good. But what she didn't know was that there were 2 otherworldly elder things lurking in the cavern below, neither of whom spoke any kind of earthly language. And if the rogue had been in any way aggressive towards them, they would have annihilated her. Luckily, she took one look at them, they yelled some alien gibberish at her, and she just noped right on out of there. It was the smartest thing anyone did the whole day. Meanwhile, the warlock and the new replacement character decided to go explore upstairs. Alone. And then immediately got ambushed by the giant plant monster that was waiting for them. Back downstairs, I said, "Hey, how about you roll a perception check to see if you can hear your teammates' screams of agony?" "Oh God, help us!" "I don't hear anything. Let's go." I guess I'll go help. Now, as far as what happened next, have you ever had one of those encounters where all of your dice rolls were just awesome? where you can feel the radiant joy of the dice gods smiling down upon you. Well, unfortunately for my players, I was about to have an encounter just like that. The rogue and the fighter backtracked to the first building. Because reasons? And they politely knocked on the door. The door opened and they were greeted by a fancy-looking pair of well-dressed nobles. "Well, hello, ladies. Please do come in. How might we help you?" "Well, you see, we've been looking for the Count." "Ah, yes, the Count. He went through all the trouble of inviting us out here for a visit, only to go and leave town on business. Can you imagine? It's been so terribly dull here. We're delighted to have guests. Here, would you have some wine?" Can I roll an insight check to sense their motives?" "You don't sense anything suspicious whatsoever. These are lovely people." Okay." "Huh. What?" Around this time, the rest of the group was in pretty bad shape after fighting off the plant monster, so they followed the others' footprints until they arrived back at the same house. When they knocked on the door, this is what they found. "Oh, thank heavens you're here. Would one of you happen to be a healer?" "These poor dears came to our door so badly injured and then they just collapsed. Please, can you help them?" I'm rolling an insight check. Yeah, me too. You think that they are being so totally truthful right now. But the cranky sorcerer still wanted to investigate. So he got the nobleman by himself and had the super duper genius idea to cast the spell invisibility on himself so that he can try and surprise the guy, I guess. But that didn't work out too well for him because amazingly, the bad guy still managed to land a devastating blow on him. Downstairs, the bad lady was waiting attentively. And as soon as she heard the body hit the floor, she cast the spell Sleep on the hunter. With great success. So, you're all unconscious. But then I suddenly realized, oh, you're all unconscious. I had just overseen the swift and brutal takedown of every single player. Now, a lot of D&D players would be upset at this point. But I have to give my group credit for the way they reacted. At first, they were just silent. But then they said, "Wow, you know what? I'm not even mad. Yeah, that was pretty amazing." But at this point, I had a tough choice to make. Technically, they'd lost. I'd have been totally within my rights to say, "Alright, the evil couple stab you all to death, the bad guys win, and the great old ones devour the planet. Congratulations." But everyone was having fun, and I'm a softie, so instead of having everyone die horribly, I had them wake up, locked in a dungeon, wounded, without any of their stuff, and the adventure continued. Oh, but not long after that, the hunter opened a chest that was booby-trapped, and no one was around to save him. He died,